located on a man-made island in the middle of the St. Lawrence River. For most of the summer, it's a wonderful park full of joggers, skaters, and bikers, but 2 weekends a year, it's a racetrack. The Speedway opened in 1978, and Gilles Villeneuve scored the first of his 6 Formula One wins in the inaugural Canadian Grand Prix on this speedway. Villeneuve, a Canadian racing hero, though lost his life in a racing accident in May of 1982. The track was named in his honor a month later. His son Jacques has carried on the family name in this sport quite successfully, winning the Indianapolis 500 in 1995 and 2 years later capturing the Formula One World Championship. Today he looks for a NASCAR win at the track that bears the family name. Shannon, he starts second.
Villeneuve, certainly a fan favorite here at Montreal. In fact, his crew chief, Trent Owens, says it's like being with Elvis here at this racetrack when he walks around with you. What is a day here at Montreal like for you from your perspective?
Well, it's when the race is on, of course, people are expecting to see racers, and there's a great atmosphere. The fans just love racing here, and whenever Formula One comes or NASCAR, the whole city is in party mode. And this weekend, with the weather, it's been amazing. Everybody's loving it.
Absolutely loving you out on that racetrack. I know in the past you've had some issues with your brakes. The team has said that they've beefed them up, but what can you do inside the car to increase the longevity of them?
Brake earlier and drive slower, basically. But yeah, I've always been a late braker, and that's how you overtake, and that's how we've made a lot of our lap time as well. So I'm happy that now I can rely on them a little bit more than in the previous races. But we managed to do the races. We managed to finish. It's just that it was holding me back, that's all.
Do you allow yourself to think about winning here in the Nationwide Series today?
Well, we've prepared for that. That's since Elkhart Lake. And that's also why we did the other races, to get ready for Montreal and to go for the win.
A lot of fans out here would love to see this 32 in victory lane. They are rooting him all the way. Alan?
Oh, they sure will be, Shannon. Thanks. Rejoined by Rusty and Andy now. Gentlemen, Villeneuve has been in 2 Nationwide Series races. Andy, he has sure been fast, but he hasn't had the brakes that could last.
Yeah, Alan, we heard him talking about how he makes time and he makes passes with these brakes. I mean, that's what his style is, and that's how he does so well on these road courses. You can see right here, I mean, just diving down in these corners. You see him trying to get 2 for 1 right here, getting into the corner at Road America. And this is how he drives, and this is why they love him so much. But now it's kind of up to the team, okay? We heard him say that they ran these races to try to prepare for Montreal, and I think that's going to be very key to them being successful, because they were able to develop their brake system. And now, like I said, it's up to the team to make sure that this car will hold up under Jacques Villeneuve and his style.
All right, Rusty, let's talk brakes in general. We've heard a lot of the drivers all weekend long talk about what a concern having brakes that'll last till the end of the race will be in this event. You're a driver, you're climbing in, you know that before the start of the race. How does it affect you?
Well, it affects you a lot, and really mentally you go into the race thinking totally different. I can't run every corner as hard as I want to run, so what you need to do in that instance is race when you only need to race. You don't have to run every single lap wide open. I used to go to the road courses worried about brakes, and I would approach it like I did Martinsville. Only race hard when you needed to. Let off the gas early, going in the corners. So there's a lot a driver can do, Alan, to manage those brakes, and that's what Jacques needs to do today, because they've told me that this particular track we're at now is the hardest in all of NASCAR for the brakes. So these guys are going to have to manage this stuff all day if they're going to be around at the end.
That's a term we'll hear throughout the race, managing the brakes. Now, there is one thing a driver can do from inside the car to help manage his brakes. For more on that, let's swing over to the Craftsman Tech Garage and bring in Tim Brewer. Tim?
One of the changes a driver can make inside the car is brake bias. What we mean by that, the pedal pressure on the front wheels compared to the rear wheels. Look at these gauges. We use the gauges to check and preset the bias on the car initially. But what we do, we have the driver. He's got control of this knob. He can transfer the pressure from the front to the rear. As the car burns off fuel, the car doesn't turn well getting into the corner, the driver can take brake pressure away from the front wheels, put it on the rear, enabling the car to turn through the center of the corner, making it faster.
Tim, thank you. We turn our attention from the car and the brakes now to this track that'll challenge the drivers in their brakes today. 14 turns, 2.7 miles around. Here are some of the key corners to watch from the driver's view.
As I approach turn 1, I'm really focused on keeping the car squared up under brakes. The corner's got a real bend to it under braking. Easy to lock up the left front tyre or the right front tyre as you do the switchback into turn 2, and that's one of the slowest corners on the track. Very little grip, but there's a lot of speed to be made here by keeping tight to the inside rumble strip.
As you approach turn 3, you're coming up to one of the tightest, most technical sections on the track. With a really good run through there, carrying a lot of speed, you can get a good run on a guy through the blind right-hand sweeper, taking at the top of 3rd gear, going down into turn 6. That's a good place to pass. You can get down on the inside of somebody. You can use all the curb. You got to be careful not to wheel hop it. Get up on the curb, get a good run off of 7, and now you're on your way down to turn 8.
Approaching turn 8, turn 8-9, we're the top of 3rd gear, probably close to 160 miles an hour. It's heavy braking. You're going under a bridge, and the chicane is quite slow. Again, it's a little bit different than the others, where the curb actually has a step to it, so you've got to be really precise.
As you enter the hairpin, corner 10 and 11, you're coming to a left-hander and you see the signs 5, 4, and as you get to 4, you start braking really hard because that's a 1st gear corner and you're coming in 3rd gear. So 2nd gear, 3rd gear, and the car moves side to side a little bit, and then you make a right because it's a very sharp corner. And the important thing there is on exit, you got to put the power down because that's the longest straightaway on the racetrack.
So you're coming down this long straightaway, you're in 4th gear, it's the fastest section of the racetrack, and here comes this corner. The first turn's to the right, and there's this huge curve, and if you hit that curve, the whole corner's shot. If you miss it just by a little bit, you can shoot right to the next curb on the left side. You can touch that one a little bit, but you don't want to too much. That wall will get you either way. You want to run right out to it and get a really good run to the start-finish line.
And it certainly appears there's a lot for drivers to remember when it comes to this racetrack. And Joey, for a guy like you, a guy with limited road course experience, what's it like coming to a place like this?
It's pretty cool. You know, I think the city itself is awesome, and the racetrack is pretty cool. It's a lot different than most racetracks that we go to, or road courses we go to. You know, Watkins Glen is definitely way different. You know, you got a lot more flowing turns, a lot more speed. This place seems like it's a straightaway, a lot of brakes, a right and a left, and a long straightaway again. So, you know, it seems like here you're focused on more, you know, how your car brakes and launches off the corner more than turning through the center, it seems like. So those are kind of the big things we focused on when we came here.
And despite your limited experience, you contended for the win at Watkins Glen, finishing 2nd. In terms of confidence, what did that do for you?
Oh, a lot, actually. You know, and it was surprising. You know, I got here and I was kind of lost again. You know, the first few laps I went out there and I was like, you know, I felt like we had the wrong gear in the car and this and that. And, you know, once I got a feel for it again, you know, it's been, you know, 2 years since I've been here, and then all of a sudden, you know, it all starts coming to you, and we found the speed back again. So I surprised myself at Watkins Glen. I surprised myself again with where we qualified. I feel like we got a really good GameStop Toyota today, and we got a shot at winning this thing. So, you know, strategy, I think, is going to be the biggest thing that's going to happen today. You know, is the way the fuel mileage turns out. I know we're all real close on making it on 2 stops or not. So hopefully cautions fall right and we do everything right, that we can have a really good race here at the end.
Well, I don't think it would surprise anyone, Alan, if he were to have a strong race today. After all, in his last 13 Nationwide Series starts, Logano has finished among the top 10. Michael, thank you. We'll talk a lot about Logano today. A couple of other guys we'll talk about a lot today. Brad Keselowski, the series championship leader, and a guy with a great road course record this season. And Robbie Gordon, coming from the back. We'll explain why when NASCAR Countdown returns to Montreal.
On the first row, il partira 2e. Starting 2nd, numéro 32, number 32, Jacques Villeneuve.
Yes, the driver introduction sound a little bit different here in Montreal, just part of the great flavor that makes this event a great race as we come to you from Ile Notre Dame Island, right next to the downtown Montreal skyline. Brad Keselowski has a large lead in the NASCAR Nationwide Series Drivers' Championship, but the Owners' Championship is a tight fight between the Joe Gibbs Racing 18 team and the Penske 22. Brad Coleman will drive the Gibbs 18 today, while Brad Keselowski drives the Penske 22. Coleman starts in 10th place, while Keselowski, Vince, starts 8th.
Top 2 of the owner points, so even their haulers are parked next to one another. The 22 and the 18 always seem to be side by side. You've had your share of battles with the 18. Do you keep a close eye on where the 18 is during the course of a race when you guys are so close in the points owner-wise?
You know, not from a points perspective, but from a performance perspective, you know, all the Gibbs cars are just so fast. So, you know, they're going to be the cars to beat on any given weekend, and that's something I'm sure they're very proud of. So. We've finally gotten to that level here with Penske Racing where we feel like on any given week we can be up there and racing with them. So, you know, it's good to be racing with them.
you've had some solid results on the road courses for sure. What does it mean to you to be a guy who's considered to be a pretty good road course racer?
Well, I mean, I don't consider myself to be a real good road course racer. I see a lot of room for improvement, but it means a lot.